I transmigrated into the cannon fodder villain who doesn't survive past 3 chapters in a feel-good novel, the heir to the top-tier Johnson family. In the original plot, I ruined my family and ended up destitute because I went after a scheming waitress named Chloe and was played by the male lead, Lucas. Abandoned my stunningly beautiful fiancée, the business queen Sophia, to become Chloe's bootlicking backup. Betrayed with a knife in the back by my most trusted brother Noah, and forced to ask why he betrayed me just before I die. Did the author donate their brain? Writing a plot that twists right and wrong like this. Whoever wants to be this gullible fool can go ahead. I won't do it. I turned and pulled my gorgeous, fierce fiancée, Sophia, close. But when I completely gave up, both the male and female leads panicked. Lucas cornered me against the wall. Why didn't you compete with me for him? Do you look down on me? Chloe looked at me with tears in her eyes. You weren't like this before. Did she force you to do this? Me? If you're sick, go get treated. Don't drag me into this. Why didn't you compete with me for him? Lucas, the fortunate child of this book, was at this moment cornering me against the wall with bloodshot eyes. His handsome face was full of anger, as if I had committed some unforgivable crime. Do you look down on me? I picked at my ear, feeling as if I had imagined it. I say, Mr. Lucas, are you sure you've got something wrong? Chloe is over there, your female lead. Why aren't you checking on her, and instead coming to me acting crazy? I pointed to Chloe not far away, looking this way with eyes like pear blossoms with rain. That pitiful, delicate expression, paired with the restaurant's soft lighting, did make my heart ache at the sight. The original owner was completely captivated by that appearance, and in the end the family was ruined and people died. Unfortunately, the one standing here now is me. A normal person who only wants to make money, not make trouble. Lucas's breath caught. He didn't seem to expect this reaction from me. According to the original plot, I should be furious, pointing at his nose, calling him a toad who dreams of eating swan meat, and fighting him tooth and nail for Chloe. Ethan, you weren't like this before. Seeing Lucas look defeated, Chloe took her little white flower exclusive lotus steps and came over gracefully. Her eyes were red, her voice carrying a tremor. You used to be the first to step in and protect me whenever I was wronged. Did she force you to do it? Her gaze glanced venomously at the woman holding a wine glass, watching everything with cold indifference. My fiancée, Sophia. Dressed in a tailored red gown, lips like fire, beautiful like a richly painted oil portrait. She is the true queen in this book. Whether in family background, looks, or tactics, she utterly crushes Chloe without leaving a trace. The original owner rejected such a top-tier fiancé and went to fawn over a scheming white lotus. Her brain really could be donated. I looked at Chloe's hypocritical face of, I'm only doing this for your own good, and nearly burst out laughing. Blackmail me? I stepped forward, walked to Sophia's side, and very naturally reached out to embrace her slender waist. Her body stiffened, and a cold look swept over her face, carrying a hint of warning. I ignored it and leaned in to chuckle softly in her ear. Darling, she said you forced me. Sophia's frown deepened, but unexpectedly, she didn't push me away. I turned my head and looked at Chloe and Lucas with a smile. First, to correct you, she and I are equal business partners. There's no one forcing the other. Secondly, Ms. Chloe, I deliberately emphasized the title. I used to be blind and mistook a fish eye for a pearl. Now my sight is better, 5.2 vision. I can see clearly who truly deserves my care. As for you, I said, looking at Lucas, if you want to put on some epic world-shaking romance with Miss Chloe, be my guest, just don't drag me into it. I'm busy making money. I won't be accompanying you. After speaking, I put my arm around Sophia and turned to leave. Wait, Lucas shouted unwillingly. Ethan, don't regret this. Chloe is the best girl in the world. Missing her will be the biggest loss of your life. I didn't look back, leaving him with a line that almost made him spit blood. Oh, then you found a treasure. Congratulations. Lock it up tightly. Don't let it out to harm others. Behind me were Lucas's furious roars and Chloe's suppressed sobs. And beside me, Sophia remained silent. It wasn't until they stepped out of the restaurant and the evening breeze lifted her hair that she finally turned her head. Those beautiful phoenix eyes held a trace of curiosity and scrutiny. "Ethan, you're very different today." "Different how?" I released the hand around her waist and slid mine into my pocket, looking nonchalant. Sophia's gaze remained sharp. "The old you, when you saw Chloe, was like a dog seeing a bone." Her words were cutting and also true. "The you now, however, seems like a different person." I gave a soft laugh and met her gaze. Maybe she died once and came to terms with it. Sophia's pupils contracted imperceptibly. When I say died, I mean the ending in the book where the original owner was ruined and her family destroyed. But to her ears, it could perhaps mean something else. "Sophia, let's make a deal." I stopped beating around the bush and got straight to the point. "Our engagement is nothing more than a tie between family interests. You look down on me, and I'm not interested in pretending to be a loving couple with you. But we don't have to be enemies, do we?" Sophia raised an eyebrow, signaling for me to continue. "In business, it's like a battlefield. Having one more friend is always better than having one more enemy. You hold the Taylor Group, and I'm about to take over the Johnson family. If our two families join forces, the value we can create together will far exceed what we get by breaking the engagement and fighting separately. As for Chloe and Lucas," I scoffed. "Nothing but jumping clowns, not worth mentioning." I looked at her, my gaze sincere. "I promise, I will never again cause you trouble because of any unrelated person. I will be your most reliable business partner." Sophia fell silent. She looked at me, as if assessing the truth of my words. After a long while, she slowly spoke. "Words alone don't prove anything. I need to see your sincerity." I smiled. "Of course." I took a document out of my pocket and handed it to her. "This is what I've worked on the past 2 days, a development plan for that plot in the South Asto district. As far as I know, Taylor Group and Bennett Group are both vying for that land." Sophia took the documents, a flicker of surprise passing through her eyes. "The land in the South Asto district is the biggest project in Asto City for the second half of the year. Whoever secures it will be able to occupy an absolute leading position in the city's future development." She opened the proposal, and the more she read, the brighter her eyes became. "In my proposal, there is not only a detailed market analysis and risk assessment. He even proposed a bold idea to combine the commercial district with a high-tech industrial park. This was by no means something that the previous incompetent Ethan could have written. This proposal is very perfect." She closed the file and looked back at me. "But the Bennett family is already connected with the municipal government. If we want to take them down, it will be difficult. Who said we intend to take them by force?" I smiled mysteriously. "Lucas is a man with a very high opinion of himself, always thinking he's a chosen one. His greatest weakness is his arrogance. He thought getting in touch with Mr. Oliver Harris made everything foolproof, not realizing the one who really calls the shots is that very low-key Mr. Liam Foster. Also, my people found that Bennett Group has been stretched thin to secure this project. They even diverted funds that were supposed to go to their overseas branch." Sophia's expression changed completely. She looked at me as if she were meeting me for the first time. "How did you find out about all this?" "Secret." "You winked ahead. Now, do you believe I'm sincere?" "Ms. Taylor." Sophia looked at me deeply. Then she reached out her hand. "Pleasure doing business." "Pleasure doing business." I took her hand. The delicate touch was even softer than I had imagined. A business alliance that upends the original story's plot was, at this moment, officially forged. As for the two protagonists still ready to die for love, they were destined to become the stepping stones for our assets to double. The next day, that most trusted good brother of mine, Noah, came knocking. The moment he stepped into my office, his face was full of sorrow and indignation. "Ethan, I heard that yesterday you made Chloe lose face in public for Sophia. Are you crazy? Don't you know what kind of person Sophia is? She's an emotionless business machine. Chloe is so kind and innocent. How could you do that to her? I leaned back in the boss chair, twirling the fountain pen in my hand. Watching his award-winning performance, I nearly applauded. This Noah, in the original book, played the role of the protagonist's good brother on the surface, coming up with all kinds of lousy schemes to help him chase Chloe and provoking Lucas. At the same time, he secretly sold the Johnson family's business secrets to Lucas. In the end, he teamed up with Lucas and personally pushed the original owner onto a dead end. Before dying, the original owner still foolishly asked him, "Why did you betray me?" Looking back now, it was truly laughably stupid. "Noah, are you my brother? Or Chloe's brother?" I stopped twirling the pen. My gaze went cold. Noah froze, apparently not expecting me to ask that. I'm of course your brother. Isn't this me worrying about you? Worrying about me? I sneered. Worrying about me means advising me to give up Sophia, that business queen fiancée, and chase after a waitress who could do nothing but cry. Worried about me? You're just watching me jump into Lucas's pit of fire and stoking the flames on the side. Noah's expression changed and changed again. "Ethan, how can you say that about Chloe and Lucas? Enough. I don't want to hear his nonsense anymore. Chloe and I are no longer connected. Don't mention her in front of me anymore. As for Lucas, he can jump around however he wants. Let him be." I stood up, walked over to him, and patted his shoulder. "Noah, you are my only true brother. I trust only you." This sentence was what the original owner often said to him. Now that it came out of my mouth, it carried a trace of a different meaning. Noah's body stiffened noticeably for a moment, but he quickly returned to his usual composure. He forced out a smile more pitiful than crying. "Ethan, as long as you can come to terms with it. By the way," he said, as if he'd remembered something, "how are you doing with that plot in the South Asto district? I heard the Bennett family is determined to get it this time. My dad has a friend in the municipal government who might be able to help. Here we go. The fox's tail has finally been revealed." I sneered inwardly, but my face remained expressionless. "Is that so? That's wonderful. I was just worrying about this." The proposal is half done, and I kept feeling it was missing something. I turned and took a document from the drawer, handing it to him. "Take a look and give me some feedback." This document was the fake proposal I had specially prepared for him. 90% true, 10% false. And that fatal one-point mistake was enough to make Lucas take a terrible tumble. Noah took the documents, a trace of greed flashing in his eyes. "No problem. I'll definitely help you strategize." He took the papers and walked away as if he had found a treasure. Watching his back, the curve at the corner of my mouth grew wider and wider. The fish has taken a bait. That afternoon, Sophia received the news. The Bennett Group suddenly increased its investment in the South Asto District project. "It looks like they want to kick us out in one shot." On the phone, there was no emotion detectable in Sophia's voice. Got it." I calmly sipped my coffee. "You don't seem worried at all." "Why worry?" I retorted. "The show has only just begun." After hanging up, I dialed another number. "Mr. Liam Foster? This is Ethan. I have a new idea about the South Asto District project and would like to report it to you in person." A steady voice came from the other end of the line. "Okay, I'll wait for you in the office." On the day of the bidding meeting for the Nan Asto District project, the atmosphere on site was extremely tense. Lucas sat opposite me, smug and self-satisfied, the challenge in his eyes almost overflowing. Noah beside him kept his head down, not daring to meet my eyes, looking sheepish. Chloe arrived too. She was dressed especially innocently and attractively today. Sitting next to Lucas, she kept glancing at me with a look that said, "You regret it now, don't you?" I couldn't be bothered with them, and only occasionally traded a knowing glance with Sophia beside me. The bidding began, and Bennett Group was the first to present their proposal. Sure enough, their plan was essentially an upgraded version of the fake proposal I had given Noah. Flashy but hollow. To achieve that seemingly grand objective, they would have to invest astronomical sums of dollars. Undoubtedly a high-stakes gamble. Lucas finished speaking and looked at me triumphantly, as if victory were already certain. It was our turn. Sophia stepped onto the stage without any unnecessary words and went straight to the point. Her proposal was practical, steady, and perfectly aligned with Mr. Liam Foster's earlier long-term plan for the city's future development. The most crucial thing was that our budget was only half of the Bennett Group's. With half the dollars, we had to accomplish something more impressive than theirs. The result was unsurprising. When the host announced that the winner of the South Asto District project was the Johnson Corporation and Taylor Group Consortium, thunderous applause erupted throughout the hall. Lucas's face instantly went deathly pale. He shot to his feet, pointed at me, his voice trembling. Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Ethan, was this your doing? I spread my hands, looking innocent. Mr. Lucas, if you can't handle losing, then don't play. Your proposal is full of loopholes, all show and no substance. The municipal leaders have sharp eyes. How could they possibly choose you? Lucas's gaze suddenly swung toward Noah beside him. Noah was terrified out of his wits, waving his hands frantically. None of my business. I didn't know. The plan I gave you. He stopped mid-sentence, realizing he'd let something slip. Lucas's expression instantly turned predatory. A grand drama of brothers turning into enemies was about to unfold. But Chloe, this female lead, was completely stunned at that moment. She looked at Sophia, dazzling on the stage, then glanced at me down in the audience, full of vigor and confidence. Then she looked at the beside Lucas, who was furious and flustered. Her worldview seemed, in that instant, to utterly collapse. The plot shouldn't have turned out like this. According to the original script, today should have been Lucas's great victory, a brutal face-slapping of Sophia and me. Then he'd hold her, and amid everyone's envious gazes, become the center of attention. But now, everything's a mess. Lucas lost, and he lost utterly. Ethan not only didn't become a defeated dog, instead, he joined forces with Sophia, and together they reached a new high. She, this female lead, also became the laughingstock of the whole place. Why? Why did this happen? Chloe's face grew paler and paler, her body trembling uncontrollably. Something in her mind seemed to shatter. Countless chaotic characters and fragments surged into her head. For the sake of a kind and innocent waitress, you fought the male lead, the favored son of fate, to the death. You abandoned your stunningly beautiful fiancée, the queen of business, to become the heroine's bootlicking backup lover. Whoever wants to be this big sucker can go ahead. I'm done with it. These words were so familiar, and yet so strange. They didn't belong to this world, and yet they were clearly imprinted deep in her memory. She suddenly looked up, staring at me intently, disbelief written all over her face. No, not right. He is not Ethan. The Ethan who was madly in love with me, so hopelessly stupid, is gone. Now, this is a stranger's soul, an intruder, like me, from another world. No, more terrifying than me. I only transmigrated into the world from my own writing, wanting to experience the joy of being the heroine. But he seems to know everything. He knew the plot, knew everyone's endings, and even knew my identity. A terrifying thought began to grow wildly in Chloe's mind. She was not the center of this world. The protagonist aura. She took pride and was worthless in front of this man. She was the real, cringing little clown. PFF. A mouthful of blood burst from Chloe's mouth. Her eyes rolled back, and she fell straight backward. The entire venue instantly erupted into chaos. And I just watched the scene coldly, a barely noticeable curve tugging at the corner of my mouth. Awake now? Very good. The game is only just beginning. When Chloe woke up, she was already in the hospital. Lucas stood by the bedside, worried expression all over his face. When he saw her open her eyes, he immediately took her hand. Chloe, you're finally awake. You scared me to death. The doctor said you had a sudden attack of anger. It's nothing serious. But Chloe acted as if she hadn't heard him and shoved his hand away. The memories in her head had completely merged. She is Chloe, a third-rate online writer. The CEO's personal sweetheart is the hit feel-good novel she wrote late into the night. Lucas is the pretend innocent, secretly formidable male lead she carefully designed. Ethan is the dim-witted cannon fodder villain she created to push the plot forward. She was very pleased with her own work. She even fantasized that she was that heartthrob heroine coveted by the heirs of two great families. Then, she woke up and found she had transmigrated into Chloe from a book. At first, she was deliriously happy. She knew the plot well. As long as she followed the script, she could easily win over the male lead and climb to the pinnacle of life. She savored Ethan's mindless adoration and enjoyed the charged ambiguity of tugging at Lucas to the limit. Everything went exactly as she had planned, until Ethan changed. He was no longer the bootlicker who orbited her. He became clever, calm, even cruel. He mercilessly pierced through her disguise. He resolutely chose the Sophia whom she had written as the vicious supporting female. Ethan, Chloe murmured to herself, her eyes full of fear and unwillingness. Ethan again. Lucas heard the name and instantly flew into a rage. Chloe, you're still thinking about him? Have you forgotten how he treated you today? He teamed up with Sophia and stole my project. He even caused you to vomit blood and faint in public. Someone like that isn't worth you liking. Like? A cold sneer formed in Chloe's heart. How could she possibly like a cardboard person she had created? She was just unwilling to accept it. She couldn't bear that the characters she had written had slipped out of her control. Lucas, Chloe sat up, looking at him with a scrutinizing gaze for the first time. Do you really want to win Ethan back? Lucas was taken aback. Of course. Very good. Chloe's gaze turned cold and resolute. The South Asto District project is just the beginning. Next, Ethan and Sophia will carry out a series of major moves. They'll attempt to swallow up several other long-established companies in Asto City. And that's where our opportunity lies. Relying on the author's memories, she preemptively revealed to Lucas some of the business maneuvers that, in the original work's later stages, Ethan and Sophia executed together. How do you know these things? Lucas asked, shocked as he looked at her. Don't ask how I know, Chloe said, her eyes flashing with a crazed light. Just know this. I'm the only person in this world who can help you defeat Ethan. As long as you follow me, I promise I can not only help you take everything back, but also make Ethan and Sophia kneel before you and beg for mercy. Looking at Chloe before him, who seemed to have been completely reborn, Lucas was full of bewilderment. But thinking of the humiliation Ethan had inflicted on him, he still chose to believe. Fine. Chloe, I'll do as you say. A counterattack, personally choreographed by the author, was about to begin. And on the other side, Sophia and I were celebrating our first victory. The Bennett Group's stock hit the daily limit down as soon as the market opened today. Sophia swirled the red wine in her glass, a hint of a smile at the corner of her mouth. I heard Lucas beat his good friend Noah so badly he had to be hospitalized. Dog bites dog. All you get is fur. I was not surprised by this at all. However, Sophia shifted her tone and looked at me. Chloe's reaction at the venue today was very strange. She didn't seem frantic because of Lucas's failure. Rather, it was as if she had suffered some huge shock. I smiled and said nothing. I know she has come to her senses. That author hiding in Chloe's body has finally realized that this world is no longer something she can control. What will she do next? Sophia asked. A corner dog will try to jump the wall. I took a sip of wine, my gaze playful. An author who knows the future plot will stop at nothing to steer a derailed world back on course. She will tell Lucas everything she knows. Sophia's brow knitted slightly. Wouldn't that put us at a disadvantage? No. I shook my head, excitement flickering in my eyes. On the contrary, a self-righteous author and an arrogant male lead, when they believe they hold the script and can foresee the future, that is when they're most fragile and most easily broken. I looked at Sophia and spoke word by word, because they don't know that I, this reader, have not only read the original. I've also read countless fan continuations and analyzed hundreds of plot directions. She thinks she's on the first layer, Lucas on the second, and I'm on the fifth. But actually, I'm in the atmosphere. Next, we'll have a good time with them. Let's show them what it means to carry out a dimensionality reduction strike. Chloe's spoiler quickly took effect. Under her guidance, Lucas intercepted the acquisition of a new energy company we had originally planned to buy. That company, in the original story, was an important piece of our business empire. Lucas's move was nothing if not ruthless. For a time, the business world buzzed with talk, saying the alliance between the Johnson family and the Taylor family was no better than this. You still have to take a hit when you run into a true child of destiny. Because of that, Lucas managed to turn the tide and regain the trust of the Bennett Group Board. He even held a victory banquet and invited all the celebrities of Asto City. Of course, he also sent invitations to me and Sophia. The guilt invitation might as well have had the words, "Come see me slap your face," printed in big letters. Are you going? Sophia tossed the invitation onto the table, her tone even. Going. Why wouldn't I? I smiled. They've stuck their faces out. How can we not slap them? At the celebration banquet, Lucas was basking in his success, while Chloe strutted like a proud peacock, receiving everyone's praise. When she saw us come in, she immediately came over. Ethan, Sophia, you're here. A victor's smile played on her face, but her eyes held a trace of condescension. I really didn't expect that you would slip up. That new energy company, you've been preparing for it for a long time for what I heard. What a pity. Is that so? I said with a face full of mock sympathy. Sigh, nothing we can do. Who told us we don't have a prophet like you here to guide us? I spoke with a pointed meaning. Chloe's expression changed ever so slightly, but she quickly regained her composure. Ethan, it's not too late to regret it now. She lowered her voice, speaking at a volume only the three of us could hear. As long as you leave Sophia and come back to me, I can guarantee Lucas won't target you anymore. The three of us can be together. You big-headed ghost. I cut her off. Miss Chloe, have you gone daft from writing novels? Do you really think the world revolves around you? You think because you hijacked one company, you've won? My advice: you'd better worry about the backyard of your Lucas's house first. After speaking, I ignored her and walked straight to the buffet. Sophia raised her glass to me gracefully, then turned to mingle with familiar business partners. That left Chloe alone, standing where she was, her face alternating between pale and flushed. She didn't understand what I meant. The backyard? What could possibly happen in Lucas's backyard? Just then, the doors of the banquet hall were suddenly pushed open. A man in a hospital gown with bandages wrapped around his head rushed in. It was Noah, the one Lucas had beaten into the hospital. Lucas, you despicable scoundrel. I hope you die. Noah pointed at Lucas, looking like a madman. You used me to deal with Ethan. Now that you've succeeded, you want to throw me aside? I'm telling you, no way. Do you even know where the money you used to buy that new energy company came from? That sum was siphoned from overseas accounts behind the board's back. You think you cover it flawlessly, but I have the evidence. Noah pulled a stack of documents from his chest pocket and slammed them onto the floor. Today, I'm going to ruin your reputation and career. The entire hall burst into uproar. Lucas's face instantly drained of color. He couldn't have imagined that Noah would jump out and stab him in the back at this moment. Chloe was even more struck, as if by lightning. This plotline wasn't in the book at all. Shouldn't Noah have been pacified by Lucas and become his most loyal dog? Why did he bite back? She looked at me sharply. I was carrying a tray of desserts, watching this big drama with great interest, even with a faint smile on my face. It's him. It has to be him. He's the one who changed Noah's storyline. The mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the oriole behind. Sophia had somehow come up beside me. There was a hint of amusement in her voice. When did you turn Noah to your side? I didn't turn him. I picked up a piece of tiramisu and put it in my mouth. I only sent someone to visit him while he was in the hospital. I told him that Lucas is someone you can share hardship with, but not wealth. The day he successfully snatches the spoils will be the day Noah is abandoned. I also accidentally revealed the account information for Lucas's embezzlement. With Noah's selfish personality, how could he be willing to play the scapegoat and let Lucas take all the credit? Sophia looked at me, her beautiful eyes shimmering with curiosity. So you deliberately let him swoop in and steal that company? Of course. I smiled. That company looked glamorous on the surface, but it had been hollowed out long ago and was drowning in debt. It was a hot potato. I put so much thought into setting this up just to make Lucas happily take this bomb. Now, the bomb has exploded. Looking at Lucas, surrounded by reporters and company directors, in an embarrassingly miserable state, and Chloe beside him at a loss. The smile at the corner of my mouth deepened. Madam Author, do you think you know the plot? Sorry, from the moment I arrived, the plot has been written by me. Lucas's scandal ignited the entire city of Asto. Bennett Group's stock price hit consecutive daily limits down, and the company's internal affairs were in chaos. Lucas himself was taken away by the police for investigation on suspicion of embezzlement and business fraud. His child of fortune, Aura, shattered into pieces. Chloe, as his accomplice, wasn't implicated, but her life didn't get any easier. She went from being an envied, soon-to-be high-society wife to a pariah despised by everyone. She wanted to come find me, but couldn't even get through the doors of Johnson Corporation. The farce ended in our complete victory. That evening, Sophia opened a bottle of 1982 Lafite at her private winery to celebrate with me. Well done. She raised her glass, her red lips leaving a faint mark on the crystal. Moonlight poured through the floor-to-ceiling windows, coating her in a hazy halo that made her look almost unreal. It's because you cooperated so well. I clinked glasses with her and drank it all in one go. The winery was very quiet. It was just the two of us. The atmosphere, under the influence of alcohol and moonlight, became somewhat subtle. Ethan, Sophia put down her glass and suddenly looked at me very seriously. Who are you, really? She had asked this question for the second time. The last time, it was outside the restaurant. She looked at me with scrutiny and doubt. This time, there was an added hint of curiosity in her eyes and inquiry. I didn't answer directly, but instead asked her back. Who do you want me to be? Is it the same idiot Ethan from before who orbited Chloe and treated you like air? Or is it the current one, the partner who can clear obstacles for you and fight alongside you? Sophia fell silent. Of course, she hoped it was the latter. But she was a rational businesswoman. She didn't believe a person would change for no reason. This doesn't make sense. I'm still me. I looked at her, my expression calm. I've just been through some things and seen some people for who they are. I was blind before, ignoring the real treasure beside me to chase those illusory phantoms. Now, I don't want to miss out anymore. My gaze fell on her face with a touch of unabashed appreciation. Sophia's heart skipped a beat. She was used to all kinds of commercial hype and insincere praise, but she had never encountered such a direct and sincere look before, especially when the person was her nominal fiancé, a man she had once scorned and even somewhat disliked. Her cheeks were slightly flushed. To hide her lapse, she picked up the wine glass and took another sip. We are just business partners, she was reminding me, and it felt like she was reminding herself too. Is that so? I smiled, leaning forward slightly, closing the distance between us. But why do I feel like our collaboration is getting more and more enjoyable? Sophia, do you dare to bet with me again? Bet on what? Her voice held a faint, barely noticeable tension. Let's bet. I leaned close to her ear, warm breath brushing her earlobe. We can not only become the best business partners, but also the most harmonious soulmates. Sophia's body went rigid in an instant. She could feel her ears turning red at a speed visible to the naked eye. Having lived for more than 20 years, this was the first time she felt so flustered. This man was just too good at it. He didn't say, "I love you," but he stirred her heartstrings in the most direct way. He defined their relationship as a gamble. This exactly hit the competitive streak and adventurous spirit in her bones. She was a merchant. Her favorite thing was high-risk, high-reward investments. And the man in front of her was undoubtedly the highest quality and most mysterious investment she had ever seen. What if I lose? She heard her own voice, with a slight tremor. I lost. I took a step back, sat back down, a confident smile on my face. Everything of the Johnson family is yours. What if you win? If I win? I looked at her, starlight sparkling in my eyes. You are mine. Sophia's heart was completely thrown into chaos. She looked at the man before her. He was confident, strong, and mysterious, with a perfectly measured hint of roguishness. He was like a whirlpool, making her uncontrollably want to get closer to drown. Okay. As if guided by some strange force, she heard herself speak. I'll bet you. The moment those words left her mouth, she knew she had already lost half the battle. But she was willing. Ever since Lucas fell from grace and Chloe vanished, life had been unusually calm. My bet with Sophia was proceeding smoothly. Our business empire kept expanding, our assets multiplying several times over. Our relationship, too, warmed from being purely business partners. We would work late together, sharing a simple takeout in the office. We would also, on weekends, set work aside. Like ordinary couples, we went to the movies and visited art galleries. I discovered that beneath the business queen exterior, Sophia actually had a very lovable side. She would light up when she saw a painting she liked, and secretly wipe away tears at scenes in a film. She was no longer a business machine, but a woman of flesh and blood, with warmth. And she also saw a completely different side of me. No longer the playboy who only knew how to eat, drink, and enjoy himself, but a man with strategy and responsibility who would occasionally tell a dry joke to make her laugh. Our relationship, in that unspoken harmony, quietly began to grow. Everything was as beautiful as a dream, until the arrival of an uninvited guest shattered that calm. That night, Sophia and I were attending a charity dinner. A handsome man in a white suit walked straight toward us. Sophia, long time no see. He spoke, his voice so gentle you could squeeze water from it. Sophia saw him, and her brows subconsciously furrowed. Elliot Morgan? When did you return to the country? Her tone carried a hint of aloofness and indifference. Elliot Morgan? I quickly searched my mind for that name. In the original novel, it seemed there wasn't a character by that name. Could it be a hidden character left by the author Chloe? Just got back. Elliot Morgan's gaze stayed glued to Sophia, completely ignoring me, his fiancée. I heard you've been doing well lately and even found a new assistant. His gaze finally fell on me, carrying a hint of undisguised scrutiny and hostility. This must be Ethan, Mr. Ethan. I've heard so much about you. He reached out his hand, a gentle smile on his face, but his eyes were ice cold. I shook his hand, smiling just as amiably. Mr. Elliot, pleased to meet you. Two hands clasped together, undercurrents stirring. I could feel the pressure from his hand steadily increasing, as if trying to give me a warning. I sneered inwardly, and the strength in my own hand increased accordingly. Elliot Morgan's expression finally changed slightly. He seemed not to have expected that this rakish young man who looked somewhat slight, would have such strength. In the end, he still let go first, his face still wearing that perfect smile. Mr. Ethan really lives up to his reputation. Mr. Elliot, you flatter me. Sophia. Elliot Morgan ignored me and turned to look at Sophia with deep emotion. This time I've come back. I'm not leaving. I heard that your engagement to Mr. Ethan was only a family business arrangement. Now I have taken back everything that belongs to me. Elliot Morgan. Sophia cut him off coldly. My relationship with Ethan is our private matter and none of your business. Also, please call me Sophia or Ms. Taylor. We're not that close. After saying that, she looped her arm through mine and turned to leave, too lazy to give him even one extra glance. Elliot Morgan froze where he stood. The smile on his face vanished. He watched our intimate backs, his expression turning instantly dark and menacing. Ethan, he muttered to himself, a flash of ruthlessness in his eyes. I'd like to see what you can do, to take from me what I've set my sights on. I could feel Sophia's hand on my arm grip me, a little tighter. What's wrong? I asked softly. Nothing. She shook her head. Just ran into an annoying fly. Childhood sweetheart. I teased. Sophia's expression darkened. Something like that. The Morgan family and the Taylor family are longtime friends. I've known him since we were kids. He's always had a bit of a thing for me. Later, something happened with the Morgan family, and he went abroad. I didn't expect he'd be back now. I understood. Another self-important male lead. Only, this Elliot Morgan seemed much harder to deal with than Lucas. He was better at disguising himself and better at enduring. Don't worry, I said, squeezing her hand to reassure her. Whether it comes as a fly or a tiger, I'll protect you. Sophia looked up, and seeing the determination in my eyes, the irritation in her heart inexplicably calmed considerably. She nodded, a faint smile curving at the corner of her mouth. I believe you. What I didn't know was that, in a corner of the banquet hall, a woman dressed as a waitress was staring at us intently. Her eyes were full of resentment and excitement. It was Chloe. She was looking at Elliot Morgan a short distance away, a strange smile on her face. Ethan, you think you've won? You're wrong. The real male lead is only just stepping onto the stage. Elliot Morgan. He is the true hidden boss in this book, the final destination I prepared for myself. You can fight Lucas, but you can never fight him. Game restart. Chloe was right. Elliot Morgan was indeed 100 times harder to deal with than Lucas. After returning to the country, he quickly consolidated the remaining power of the Morgan family. And with a thunderous force, he established an investment firm called Genesis Capital. This company, out of nowhere, began to stir up bloodshed and upheaval in Astos City's capital markets. His methods were ruthless, precise, and without mercy. He was not as impulsive or arrogant as Lucas. He's more like a venomous snake lurking in the dark, delivering a fatal strike when you least expect it. Several of our ongoing projects were ambushed by him. Although no substantial damage was done, it still left us in a complete mess. This Elliot Morgan is not simple. In the office, Sophia's expression was somewhat grave. His source of funds is very mysterious. And he's well aware of our business layout, as if he has a God's eye view. I sneered. Of course he has a God's eye view, because behind him stands an author. Although Chloe had gone mad, her memory of the plot was Elliot Morgan's greatest weapon. She told Elliot Morgan all of the business plans for the future that were in the original book, mine, and Sophia's. What Elliot Morgan intended to do was lay the groundwork in advance and wait for us to walk right into the traps he set. So what do we do now? Sophia looked at me. All of his plans have already been anticipated by him. We're at a disadvantage. Who said we were going to stick to the plan? I leaned back in my chair, my fingers tapping lightly on the tabletop. Since he knows our plan A, plan B, plan C, then let's give him one he'll never expect, plan Z. Sophia's eyes brightened. You mean, use his own plan against him? I stood up, walked to the huge floor-to-ceiling window, and looked at the bustling city traffic below. Chloe thought she had given Elliot Morgan a walk-through guide. Then we'll turn that guide into a death warrant. Didn't she know we were going to acquire that chip company in West Astor District? Then we'll spread this news until everyone knows. Let everyone think that for the sake of this company, we're willing to spend a fortune and are determined to win it at all costs. Sophia immediately understood what I meant. You mean, set a trap for him? That's right. I turned around, a cold smile curling at the corner of my mouth. Elliot Morgan is far too confident. He thinks that holding the script lets him control everything. Then let's make him taste what it's like to be eaten alive by the script. Over the next few days, Sophia and I mobilized every resource we had, took up a stance as if determined to fight Elliot Morgan to the death. We kept raising the acquisition price for that chip company in the West Asto district. We even went so far as to sell off some non-core assets to raise funds. The entire business community of Astos City was watching this celestial duel. Everyone thought Johnson Corporation and Taylor Group had gone mad this time. Elliot Morgan had also taken the bait. In his view, this chip company was the core of Ethan and Sophia's future business empire. If they could seize it, it would be like cutting off our future. Encouraged by Chloe, he also invested money regardless of cost, and fought us to the death. In the end, after a frenzied bidding war, Elliot Morgan paid an astronomical price and successfully snatched that chip company from us. When the news broke, Elliot Morgan and Chloe were partying wildly in their office. "Ethan, Sophia, you lost." Chloe looked out at the Johnson Corporation building and laughed until tears streamed down her face. "Without this chip company, your future is nothing but scattered sand. This time, let's see how you turn things around." At this moment, on the top floor of Johnson Corporation, Sophia and I were leisurely sipping champagne. He took the bait. A smile that couldn't be hidden spread across Sophia's face. I nodded. "Next, it's time to close the net." I dialed a number. "You may begin." The next day, a piece of tech news that shocked the world topped every media outlet. Major breakthrough. Country M announces the successful development of a new generation quantum chip. Traditional silicon-based chips will be completely phased out. When the news broke, the global chip industry was instantly overturned. The stock prices of all traditional chip companies overnight fell to worthless paper. The chip company Elliot Morgan had bought at a sky-high price instantly turned from a gold mine into a huge bottomless pit. His Genesis Capital had poured so much money into that one project that its funding chain instantly broke. Calls from banks demanding repayment and questions from partners came at him like snowflakes. Elliot Morgan was completely stunned. He stormed into the office, grabbed Chloe by the collar, his eyes bloodshot. "Why? Didn't you say this company was their future? Why did this happen?" Chloe was stunned too. That scene wasn't in her script at all. A quantum chip? What is that? In that third-rate domineering CEO novel of hers, there was absolutely no such high-tech setup. "I don't know. I really don't know." She trembled with fear. "Don't know." Elliot Morgan shoved her to the ground, his eyes so vicious they seemed ready to devour her. "You useless piece of trash. You've ruined me." He looked out the window at the Johnson Corporation building that still stood unmoved and finally understood everything. From the very beginning, it had all been a setup, a death trap tailor-made for him by Ethan and Sophia. He thought he was the hunter, but he hadn't realized that from beginning to end, he was only the prey. "Ethan," Elliot Morgan gave a bitter laugh, his eyes full of despair and unwillingness. He lost even more completely than Lucas. Elliot Morgan was ruined. His so-called Genesis Capital had become the biggest joke in Asto's business world. He went from a dazzling hidden boss to a debt-ridden dog of defeat. As for Chloe, she completely lost her mind. She could not accept that the plot she had meticulously designed was being overturned by me time and time again. On a stormy night, using her last strength, she called me. On the phone, her voice was hoarse and eerie. "Ethan, do you think you've won? You're wrong. If I can't have it, then neither can you. I've hidden the final Easter egg in this book, a surprise that could destroy everything. Tonight at midnight, Sophia's private winery will settle this once and for all. If you don't come, don't ever expect to see her again." After saying that, she hung up. My heart tightened. I immediately called Sophia, only to find her phone had already been turned off. A sense of foreboding settled over me. I immediately drove to Sophia's private winery. The winery was deathly silent. The main gate was ajar, and a strange, eerie scent of blood wafted from inside. I pushed the door open and saw a scene I would never be able to forget in this lifetime. Sophia lay in a pool of blood, a dagger plunged into her abdomen, the crimson staining her white dress. And Chloe was standing right beside her, holding a detonator in her hand, a mad smile fixed on her face. "Ethan, you're here. Look at you, your queen, how pathetic she is now." My mind went blank. I rushed over, trying to pick up Sophia, but Chloe stopped me. "Don't move." She raised the detonator and screamed hysterically. "I filled this winery with explosives. The moment I press this, all of us will die. Why are you doing this?" My eyes were bloodshot as I stared at her. "Why?" Chloe laughed, laughing until tears streamed down her face. "Because all of you have betrayed me. Lucas, Elliot, and you. I created you all. You should all love me. You should all revolve around me. But what about you? Each of you has slipped out of my control. All of you want to love that damned Sophia. Why should she? She's just a supporting female character. Why should she get everything? If this world won't follow my script, then I'll destroy it. I'll destroy all of you. She looked at me, her eyes full of the thrill of revenge. Ethan, I know you love her. I'm giving you a choice now. Either you kill her with your own hands, then kneel and beg me to be my dog, or you stay with her and go to hell together. I looked at Sophia on the ground, barely clinging to life, then at the woman in front of me who had completely lost her mind. My heart felt as if a knife were gouging into it, ruthlessly. Okay, I heard myself speak. My voice was terrifyingly calm. I choose the first one. Chloe froze. Even Sophia, lying in a pool of blood, opened her eyes wide in disbelief. I slowly picked up the dagger from the ground, stained with Sophia's blood. Step by step, he walked toward her. There was no expression on my face. Ethan, no. Sophia weakly reached out her hand, trying to grab me, but caught nothing. I walked up to her and looked down at her from above, looking at her pale face and those eyes full of despair. Then I raised the dagger in my hand. I mouthed a prayer in my heart. Then, sharply, I plunged it in. The dagger did not stab Sophia. At the last moment before it would touch her body, my wrist snapped sharply, and it flew straight toward Chloe, who was standing not far away. All of this happened in the blink of an eye. Chloe didn't react at all. She only saw a flash of cold light. Then her right hand holding the detonator was pierced by a sharp pain. Ah! She let out a scream as the dagger had already gone through her palm, pinned her and the detonator tightly to the wall. The detonator slipped from her limp hand and fell to the ground. I didn't hesitate at all. I lunged forward in a single step and kicked the detonator into the corner. Then I quickly took off my coat and pressed hard on the wound in Sophia's abdomen. Sophia, hold on. The ambulance will be here any second. My voice trembled with fear. Sophia looked at me, a weak smile appearing on her pale face. I knew it. You won't kill me. Don't speak. I cut her off. Save your strength. You'll be fine. Ethan. She grabbed my hand, her eyes unusually bright. I won that bet. My eyes flooded with tears in an instant. Yes, you win. You win, so you're not allowed to die. Do you hear me? On the other side, Chloe, pinned to the wall, looked at us and let out a venomous curse. Ethan, you liar. I hope you die. Do you think it's over just like that? It's useless. The explosives here are timed to go off. Less than 5 minutes left. You're all going to die. You'll all be buried with me. I glanced up at the clock on the wall. 4 minutes and 30 seconds left. There simply isn't enough time. Are we really going to die here? No. I refuse to accept it. I finally managed to shake off the fate of a cannon fodder. It took so much effort to get to where I am with Sophia. I absolutely cannot die like this. My brain is running at top speed. Dynamite, timed detonation, the winery. Wait, winery. I suddenly remembered something. This winery was personally designed by Sophia. To store those precious wines, she built a top-tier cellar underground with a bank vault-level security system. The cellar door was made of a special alloy, capable of withstanding explosions of any magnitude. Sophia. I shook her. What's the code to the underground wine cellar? Sophia was already somewhat disoriented, but hearing my words, she still mustered her last strength and recited a string of numbers. I immediately scooped her up and ran toward the cellar entrance. I entered the password, and the heavy alloy door slowly opened. Just as we entered the wine cellar, and the door was about to close, I looked back and saw Chloe's face twisted with jealousy. She was still shouting curses frantically. Ethan, Sophia, I curse you. In every life, may you never love each other. I looked at her, a cold smile curling at the corner of my mouth. In your next life, when you write novels, remember to do more research. Don't write these nonsensical, intelligence-lowering wish fulfillment stories anymore. Having said that, the alloy door closed completely. Her curses and the impending death were forever sealed outside the door. Boom! A thunderous, earth-shattering explosion. The entire wine cellar shook. I held Sophia tightly in my arms, sheltering her beneath me, feeling the violent tremors underfoot and the dust trickling down from above. I knew we had survived. I don't know how long had passed before the shaking finally stopped. The wine cellar was pitch black, with only the emergency light giving off a faint glow. Sophia, in my arms, had completely passed out. I couldn't afford to delay. I immediately tore open her clothes and checked her wounds. Fortunately, although the dagger looked terrifying, the stab wasn't deep and didn't hit any vital organs. I used the first aid kit kept in the wine cellar to give her a simple dressing and stop the bleeding. Then I took out my phone. There was a signal. I immediately called the ambulance and the police. After doing all that, I finally relaxed and slumped to the ground. I looked at Sophia in my arms, her face pale but breathing steady, and felt a wave of lingering fear. So close. I was just a little bit away from losing her forever. I lowered my head and gently pressed a kiss to her forehead. Fool. From now on, don't ever do something this stupid for me again. The rescuers arrived shortly thereafter. When they finally forced open the wine cellar door from the rubble, what they saw was the image of us holding each other. Sophia was taken away in an ambulance. As the only survivor and witness, I was taken back to the police station to give a statement. I embellished the story of Chloe and Elliot Morgan a bit before I told the police. In the end, the explosion that shook Astor City was ruled a retaliatory act stemming from a business vendetta. Chloe and Elliot Morgan, the two who once tried to upend our world. All the chaos they brought, along with them, turned to ashes in that blast. The turmoil gradually subsided. A month later, Sophia was discharged after recovering. I went to pick her up the day she left the hospital. She wore a simple white dress and stood in the sunlight, beautiful like an angel. When she saw me, she smiled. That smile was more radiant than the sun. "I'm hungry," she said. "What do you want to eat?" I asked. "Either is fine." "Okay." I took her hand, our fingers interlacing tightly. "Then let's go home. I'll make it for you." Under the setting sun, our shadows were stretched out long, very long. Back home, I tied on an apron and busied myself in the kitchen. Sophia leaned against the doorframe, quietly watching me. "Ethan, I won that bet." "So?" She paused, a flush rising on her face. "You are mine now." I turned around, my hands still dusted with flour. I stepped in front of her, cupped her face, bowed my head, and kissed her. The kiss was light, very gentle. It carried the relief of surviving a catastrophe and the reverence of something regained. After a long while, our lips parted. I looked at her, the love in my eyes so full it was about to spill over. "No." I shook my head, my voice hoarse. I won. You are my whole world.